Hello everyone, I'm Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English. I don't know how many of you have been to social media lately, but if you've been to social media, you'd realize that people left, right and center, they are criticizing the government for introduction of ethanol blended petrol. So in our today's video, we'll try to understand why are Indians saying no to ethanol blended petrol. And the reason why we have picked up this topic for our today's discussion is because right now, government has made the sale of E20 fuel standard in India. But there were proposals that government can introduce a higher level of blend, so much so that the petrol stations in India might soon be able to sell even E25 petrol. But sadly, that proposal has been pushed back by the government because of the raging backlash over ethanol blending of petrol. Now, although government did not formally announce that it is going to soon start selling E25 petrol, but there were some signs of it. In the past 6 weeks, there were two government's decisions. First, reduction in the central excise duty by making them exempted on the blended fuel. And secondly, the Bureau of Indian Standards had notified the fuel standards for higher blended petrols. So these were seen as a sign that government is now making people ready or getting people ready so that it will start selling a higher blended of E25 petrols in India. Now, this topic is a technical topic. So what we'll do, we'll start from the basics. We'll first try to understand why is government introducing ethanol blending of petrol? What is the economic rationale behind it? Then we'll try to understand what are political and environmental benefits of it. And then we'll try to understand what are the criticisms this government's policy have been facing in the past few years. Now, the notes which I will be using for our today's session, you can also download them by going to a particular Telegram channel called as ATS Live. And while you're at it, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel also. So let us start by understanding what is India's trajectory as far as adoption of E20 fuel is concerned. Now, last year only, in 2025, India fully transitioned into 20% blending of ethanol. So the fuel that you buy right now, E20 fuel, it consists of 20% ethanol and 80% petrol. And this variant of fuel is available across the country. Now, you need to understand the original target of government to achieve E20 was by 2030. So we have been able to achieve this target 5 years before. Now, in the span of 3 years, our fuels in India has evolved quickly from E10 to E20, which originally was stated to take place over in 8 years. So this has created some problems in the economy. But first, let us try to understand why government, after all, is bringing ethanol blending of petrol and why is government wanting to increase this percentage of blends. Now, the first reason is India's energy security. As you have already known, India is dependent on imports for meeting 88% of its domestic crude oil requirements. So for every fuel that you sell in India right now, that is an E20 fuel, theoretically you are able to save as much as 20% petrol. So this would lessen our requirement of imported crude oil, which would save much needed forex reserves. And that is why since 2014, the government has been able to save about 1.97 lakh crore worth of forex reserves. Second benefit is to India's agricultural sector. Now, to produce ethanol, we use crops like sugarcane as well as damaged food grains. So this has enabled farmers to make more money. So the percentage of money that we are saving in forex has been indirectly diverted towards farmer. So government is happy because its forex is saved. The farmers are happy because they are now earning more income. Secondly, other benefits include price stabilization. As you recently may have realized, the prices of crude oil skyrocketed after the war broke down in the Middle Eastern region, specifically between Iran and US. As a result, even then, the prices of fuel in India increased, but it did not increase as much as compared to other countries. And one of the factors behind it was now government had to rely on lesser imported crude oil because 20% of it is saved because we are not mixing or we are not providing 100% petrol. Similarly, it has led to benefit infrastructure and investment also. For example, the distilleries who are now using sugarcane to produce ethanol, they have been able to get a steady customer that are oil marketing companies, and as a result, thousands of direct and indirect jobs have been created, and it has also led to de-stressification of the sugarcane industry, because as you can understand, sugarcane industry earlier relied only on the sugarcane and the sale of sugar in India in order to get income. Now their income sources have diversified. So this is how it has introduced benefits, economic benefits to Indian government, to Indian farmers as well as industries. Now let us try to understand the political benefits of it. The agricultural lobby in India, especially in Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, they are pushing very hard for the government to increase the ethanol blend so that the farmers who are growing sugarcane do not have to solely rely on the prices of sugar which are sold in the market to get their income. They can diversify their sources, and even if the prices of sugarcane crash, they might still have some income sources left when they have to provide for the ethanol. In addition to that, there are environmental benefits also. For example, let me tell you the chemical composition of ethanol. Chemically, ethanol is designated as C2H5OH. So every molecule of ethanol consists of 2 atoms of carbons, as against every molecule of petrol which consists of anywhere between 8 to 12 atoms of carbons. So when you burn ethanol, the amount of carbon emission theoretically is lesser than the carbon emission that you get from burning petrol. So this means for every amount of fuel that we burn, we emit less amount of carbon, which would help India to meet its net zero targets which the government has fixed to be met by the year 2070. So this is environmental benefit of it. Similarly, you need to understand ethanol also has some other chemical combustion benefits. For example, whenever you burn a petrol in an internal combustion engine, it leads to a phenomena called as knocking. To reduce the knocking, you add additives to petrol. But naturally, ethanol has very good anti-knock properties because its octane number is exponentially higher than petrol, and as a result, because the ethanol has higher anti-knock properties because of higher octane number, you are able to achieve a cleaner burn inside the internal combustion engine. Therefore, the amount of or the quality of driving that you'll experience after burning of ethanol is much better, much more smoother as compared to a sole petrol engine. And that is why you may have realized in high performance engines such as sports cars, higher blended of ethanol is used in order to produce a smooth experience. Now, why are people criticizing the ethanol blending policy? If everything is so good, like I've told you, so why should people criticize it, right? So let me tell you the reasons behind it. Now, the first reason that the people and the normal public is facing is substantial drop in their fuel economy. And this is because of the fact that ethanol has lower calorific value. For example, petrol has some calorific value about 34 megajoules per liter. On the other hand, ethanol's calorific value is about 30% less, that is 21 megajoules per liter. So as ethanol has 30 to 35% lesser calorific value, for every liter of fuel that you burn, which consists of higher percentage of ethanol, you'd get lesser mileages in your car. And this is one of the biggest concern that Indian drivers have. As you may have already known, Indian drivers are very conscious when it comes to mileage of the car. And that is why brands like Maruti, like Hero, their tagline is that your car, how much amount of mileage it gives you. So it is very conscious for India that they want higher mileage from their cars, which they are not able to get because of the use of ethanol blended petrol. The second problem that Indians are facing is compatibility issues, and it is specifically relating to older vehicles which are not specifically tuned to be run on ethanol blended petrol. And the reason behind it is ethanol's hygroscopic nature. Hygroscopy refers to that phenomena or that ability of a compound to attract water and water molecules from nearby areas. As ethanol is higher hygroscopic in nature, it has potential to damage parts owing to factors like corrosion. So it is very much likely that your older incompatible E20 cars might face problems like corrosion, which would reduce its overall drive, which would mean that you will be required to buy a new car sooner, and which would mean people would spend more money. Now, in addition to that, there is also a problem associated with ethanol, that ethanol's flash point is higher than petrol. Flash point is the ability of any fuel to provide you combustion at a lower temperature, right? So lower is the flash point, the easier would be for you to start your car in colder conditions. But as I told you, ethanol has a higher flash point, which would mean if your fuel is ethanol rich, it would prove to be difficult to start in colder climates. So this is why one of the biggest drawbacks about ethanol is its low ability to start in extremely cold conditions. Now, the government of India and many people or many experts are of the opinion that ethanol blended fuel in much higher amounts are easily available in Brazil, and people are very happy about it. So why Indians can't accept ethanol blended petrol where a similar country like Brazil can? Now there is a very good reason why people of Brazil are not as angry as compared to Indians when it comes to ethanol blended petrol and its availability. Now first of all, people of Brazil have an option to choose different fuels from petrol pumps, which Indians don't. When you go to a petrol pump and buy fuel, do you think petrol pump offers you 100% petrol ethanol blended at different levels? No, right? But that is provided in Brazil. Similarly, in Brazil, there is also a law that customer should be provided the choice, and also if they are able to buy ethanol blended fuels, the prices of ethanol blended fuels would be lower as compared to 100% petrol. So it provides people an economic incentive to opt for ethanol blended fuel and make up for it, as they would get less mileage from it. So this is why people of Brazil are not criticizing and people of India are criticizing, because they are essentially paying the same price as that of petrol for a petrol which now consists of only 80% petrol, right? Now, beyond all of that, there are environmental stress factors also. As I told you, what are people using to make ethanol? People are using water intensive crops like damaged rice, like sugarcane, and that is why the stress on the environment, especially when it comes to use of fresh water in agriculture, increases. And there is also food and fuel debate. Suppose in one particular year, what if your production levels of sugarcane suffer? Then to make the same amount of ethanol like we are doing right now, we would be required to use other food grains. So if other food grains are used, it would mean that the less amount of food grains would be left for people to eat. So this brings a debate on whether we need food security or do we need fuel security, because both of them are important. So these are the major biggest concerns about the ethanol blended fuel. So to conclude, how would we summarize this argument? First of all, you need to understand India's ethanol blended program is well intentioned and it has delivered notable gains. There is no doubt in energy diversification and saving of forex reserves, as well as ensuring rural income, especially to farmers. But it comes at a significant ecological and economic cost. And in order to it be successful in future, we need this policy to be sustainable, inclusive and resilient in long term. So what the government has to do, it has to move beyond sugarcane and subsidies towards a scientifically balanced, environmentally conscious and regionally diversified biofuel economy, which would take concerns of people in mind, accommodate their concerns in form of lesser cost for ethanol blended fuel, so that people by choice can opt for it, not they are forced to do so. Okay, so this is all for today's discussion. Now the topic that was in news, we have covered it because the news cycle allows us to do so. But what about the topics which are never in news? To understand those topics, what you can do is take admissions to our P2I foundation courses. In P2I foundation courses, each and every subject are done in a comprehensive manner, so you won't have any complaints that something is missed out, something is not. And to make things sweeter, up till today you are getting a discount of 50% off on all the courses. So much so that if you use this code ATS Live, you're gonna get even more discounts. Please remember, today is 10th of July and you'll get this discount only up till today. So wish you all a very good night. And before ending, this is the question that I'd want you to solve exactly on the lines of UPSC pattern. Which is or are the most likely advantage of implementing the ethanol blended program in India? This is very similar to the question that appeared in the 2017 exam. If you can't see the last option, it says 2 and 3 only, right? So go try to solve this question and do let me know what your opinions on the ethanol blended policy of the government are very honestly in the comment section. I'd want to know your side of the argument as well. And if you're waiting to download the notes, this is where you'd get it, the ATS Live Telegram channel. So this is all from my side for today. I wish you a very good night. We'll see each other again quite soon.